Welcome everyone to the free Zoom, Kass Rocking Bodies Down Under. I'm Yaku, co-host, and Percy next to me, and the wonderful team from Kass Thomas. And we all just want to welcome you on this Zoom. Thank you for joining us. It's a great honor. And to introduce you a little bit to Kass, I will hand over to Ina.
Hello,
Ina.
my name is Ina.
Where do I begin? She is meet Kass. Kass is like, well, let me say it from I've been creating with her for a while now, and she is just this dynamic person, creator of magnitude, always on the go, always creating, always traveling all over the world. Sometimes I'm like, how is she doing it? But she is just amazing at the flawlessness that she has with it. And the flawlessness that she has with bodies and with communication. Like my world has been just expanding, just being part of her creations and part of her life really, and having her be such a great contribution. And it's just totally from so much gratitude that you'll get to know about people and their classes that you get to know about. But then when you're actually creating with someone on a regular day-to-day basis, it's something totally different. You get a whole different sense of it. And you also get a whole different sense of where Kass is creating from, and the space and the allowance that she has, and the including everyone and everyone's knowing and awareness, which is just so awesome to have in this world and on this planet. And I would so like for it to be all over the world, spreading that, for all of us to be able to be that for whatever that is for us. And she is an Access Consciousness certified facilitator and does classes worldwide. She's a BAS, body process, body class facilitator, 3-day body class facilitator. She's a speaker. She's an author of amazing books. One of them is 7 Steps of Flawless Communication. And she's just brilliant. What else can I say? I can continue. I can do a whole call on Kass.
Great. It's so interesting too, when you hear people introduce you. If you do radio interviews or something like that, they ask you to send them a bio, right? And who knows when's the last time you looked at that bio and you listen and you're like, oh yeah, I did that. That's true, I did that. Then it's like your turn to talk, right? And you're like, oh, wait a minute, I was listening to you, right? Yeah, and being you, facilitator, which is so great that with Dane here book, co-creator of accessconsciousness.com, and we're all, most of us anyway, listening, have the pleasure of playing with the tools of access consciousness, which really, as I'm traveling around, I see how different it is than other things. It really is access consciousness, definition of consciousness, includes everything and judges nothing. And you can see that by the variety of people that are using these tools and facilitating the world with these tools. So I'm really, really honored to play with all of you guys all around the world. And I'm doing my best to get it out there. Traveling and stuff like that. And really honored to play with Jacko and Percy as co-hosts of the class in Australia. The classes we'll be doing in Australia. And just excited to see you guys in person too.
Yeah, it will be awesome to
planning and playing for a few months now.
Yeah, exactly. It's lots of excitement heading our way.
Are you sure?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Bhaiya.
Yes, of course.
So I would, yeah, just like to add as well, like this is a total interactive call, and all your questions, any question that you have are more than welcome. You can ask them in the chat, you can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself. We'll have you on mute so that we have a clear recording, but you can unmute yourself as well at some time, some point, whenever you have a question, and go ahead and ask. So what are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about bodies, right? We're talking about bodies, and we're talking about what we're going to be doing and playing with down under. You know, I've been down under.
What is down under?
Down under, exactly. That's what. It's not anything below the equator. That I know. It's definitely across the seas. Because it's funny because Jacko and Percy are from South Africa, which is also down under, but it's not across. So it's down and across.
It's not down under.
Yeah. And I realized that my first trip to Australia was 10 years ago, 2007. And I went touring around and came for the facilitators class there, but also did the 3-day body class with Gary and Dane when they were still doing 3-day body classes, and did some talk to the entity intros with Shannon, and X-Men intros with Gary and Dane, and also did a filming. I think Ratan Deep's on the line, Singh, also did the filming for this video that Access has, this documentary called Conversations in Consciousness. And it's so interesting to see how we evolve with these tools. And yet there is something about us that's always there, that's always present. There's something that we know, that we've always known about consciousness, about bodies, about what, let's say, what we're here to do and what we can do here. And so I love watching that video that I did, because it's 10 years ago and still very much alive. Even though I look different, I had like this short hair. And very much alive in how we can use these tools of Access Consciousness really to change our lives, but also to change the world. And one of the things that I talked about in there is how we can use these tools to blow the lie off of. I talked about racism in the video, but really about judgment. It is such a huge distraction that keeps us from getting to who we are, keeps us away from who we are. So in my classes, one of the things I know that I invite people to is this presence, this getting in touch with your vibration and knowing who you are. And that's something no one can take away from you. And we distract ourselves with lots of things, that situations in our lives, in our families, in our work, in our with our bodies. But who you are is not for sale. It's not compromisable. And so I'm really excited and honored that I get to invite people to that. And it's one of the consistent things people say about once they've had some experience with my classes, that I'm more in touch with me than I've ever been. And as Gary Douglas says, if you invite one person to change, then you have changed the world. Yeah. So what invitation can we be, all of us, to that one person that by being who we are, we invite to recognize that that's possible. Yeah. You know, Gary calls me the woman that can go on and on about anything forever. So if you guys don't ask me some questions, I'll just go on and on.
Kass,
Can talk about anything forever.
What I would like to ask is, can you take us a little bit into what to expect from the body class coming up in Oz? What can we be looking forward to in our bodies?
How are you gonna rock our bodies?
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, it's funny. Someone just asked me. They're translating they're translating the Advanced Money book by Gary, and there's a line in there that says you have to be willing to be messy, right? And you have to be willing to mess up anybody's world who is not anybody's world. And they said, what does that mean exactly? And what it means is anywhere people are not contributing to the consciousness that they are, they're not being who they are. Messing up their world means scrambling whatever fixed points of view they have that don't allow them to access more of them and more of their body. Does that make sense, what I said?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah. So she was, she's brilliantly fluent in English, and she's translating it into French. And she was asking what that means. And so this is a bit in response to your question, what to expect from the body class. It never shows up the way you think it does. I always ask people in the beginning, for whom is this the first body class? And I'm one of the first people to raise my hand with that. Because truly every single class is a contribution to me and changes my life, because what we create together is completely different than what we expect. You know, the first thing I do is all the projections, expectations about what that's going to look like. I just came back from Israel, and I knew it was going to change my life, right? I did a 3-day body class there, and an intro to the 7 steps to flawless communication. And also Tales from the Golden Planet, which is a specialty class that I do about getting us into our perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving. And I thought my expectation, right? So what can we expect from the body class? My expectation in going to Israel was like, I'm going to have the energy, you know, of the Messiah, and I'm going to, go to the grave of Jesus, and I'm going to be enlightened, and I'm going to leave there, and I'm going to be walking on water and parting seas, and, and the experience was completely fulfilling, let's say, right? And it showed up in a completely different way than I expected. The clarity that I got on my life, my business, how I'd like to live it, was something that I wasn't expecting. So how much of expecting is really a limitation.
Yeah.
And doesn't allow us to receive what else shows up. So I know you don't love that answer, and I will respond to your question.
No, it makes sense.
So what you can expect from the body class is to have a different communication with your body, and definitely to be in less judgment of your body, and to enter into this dialogue with your body that allows you to have fun playing with your body. It's a relationship, and usually relationship, we talk about the distance, right, between 2 points, me in relation to my body. Usually our relationship with our body is about a monologue, do this body, don't do this. Why aren't you looking this way? Why aren't you doing this? Why do I have this pain? How do I get rid of this pain? Instead of a playful negotiation, a dance, really, with your body. And it's a relationship that only you two have. It's a conversation that only you and your body can have, you and your body. And then you can have a dialogue with everyone else and everyone else's body, which continuously goes on, whether or not you're aware of it, conscious of it. But that rapport with your body, that communion, that dance in the 3 days changes. How it happens, I don't really have an answer for you. That it happens, I guarantee you. I've never had anyone not deepen the dialogue, the dance, and have more fun with the dance after a 3-day body class. Is that good? Did you get that? Is that a good answer?
Yeah, great answer. That's a beautiful answer. We've received a question, and somebody wants to know, what changes have you noticed in people who attend your 3-day body class? Can you give us a couple of stories, perhaps from all the years that you've been doing this?
Yeah, well, all the years, who remembers that? But I can give you this, just the one of the ones I got this morning, coming back from my trip to Israel. A lovely gal invited us to Jerusalem and walked us around Jerusalem, and then had to run off to a client. And she says to me this morning, Kass, my universe has changed after the class. I had the privilege to work with a gentleman on Monday for the first time. Yesterday, his wife thanked me for returning her husband to her. Thank you for the gift you be, for the attention to detail of what and when I could hear it. I'm more of me than I have ever been, and love it. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's this morning from Aviva. Maybe she's online. I should have just invited her, right? From Jerusalem. So, a more gentleness, more kindness, more gratitude for your body, and it's a quiet but resounding, comfort and ease that you have with your body. There's lots of people on the line also who have had body classes with me. They might even say it better. But there's a more gentleness, a gentle approach. And, you know, the body class, we have a manual, and it's might even be completely rehauled by September 18th when our class begins in Noosa. The processes, the energetic body processes, are really wonderful. There is, words usually are a reduction of what's possible, right? We have to define things and put them into words, but somehow the magic with Gary and Dane and these body processes, they have encompassed the energy in the name of the body processes. So the 60 plus body processes that are in the manual, that are continually being added, in themselves are alive. Every time we do them, something new shows up, right? So that's one of the changes. But also what I like to introduce people to, and a lot of people who come to the classes are already practitioners of massage or different types of therapy, have clients. But I sort of invite people to start a dialogue with their partner and with their clients' bodies way before you put your hands on them, way before the session starts. And it's a gentleness in your approach to your body, first of all, and then to others' bodies. What would it be like to treat the bodies as your body should have been treated, not exactly as it is? And, you know, when we live in cities too, there's an abruptness that goes on. So the space that we create in these 3 days is a gentleness that actually expands beyond just the class. It expands into your world and how you are willing to show up and approach everything in your life. The best kept secret ever is that it's not just about the bodies. It's about your approach to life and making sure that you and your body are included in that. Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Always like to check in, you know.
Just making sure there, guys.
So Rajani is also saying that there was a body class last year, and a lot of changes that that this person has experienced with their body. A lot of awareness. That's just the body looking different, and just the energy of the class is amazing. So that's awesome feedback.
Yeah, and people have so many ideas about what receiving is, right? And so when you have these expectations about will I receive more or better, right? How much are we already receiving that we're not acknowledging? So if you didn't have any expectation about what receiving is, right, could you be your own brand of receiving? I see Kausar's on the line, who was in a body class with me in Bangalore over a year ago. And she's an amazing receiver. And based on other people's definitions of what receiving is, what receiving looks like, she thought she wasn't a receiver. So how many of us are receiving so much all the time, and we're like, we must not be getting it because it doesn't look like it does for other people.
Yeah. Moana would like to know, how do you tap into Moana? Hi,
Hi, Moana. I saw Sharon too. We're still down under after Australia, going over to New Zealand. So excited. Yeah.
So she wants to know, how do you tap into the energies of the places that you're facilitating from?
How? Well, you know, it's funny because how do you tap into the energy of the places that you're facilitating from? I once heard Gary Douglas say, the question how is about finding out the steps. It's usually something that someone else has invented and you just need to know how to do it because it's not from you. But tapping into that energy is from you. So it's not really about a how. And this is what we do with all of Access. It's about getting rid of anything, any points of view, any judgments, any expectations that don't allow you to access the way you do it, right? So the tapping into the energy of the space for facilitation is really just tapping into the energy, tapping into the vibration, aligning yourself with your vibration, recognizing what that is. And we do some very simple exercises to do that. And one could be simply just putting your hand on your pulse, right? Putting your hand on your heart and feeling your heartbeat, right? Takes 10 seconds to do that. That's one of the exercises actually in the 7 steps to flawless communication. Putting your hand on your heart, feeling your heartbeat, right? And you can do it on your pulse as well. And once you tap into that, extending that to perceive what reflection of that there is in every flower, every blade of grass, every part of the earth. And it's so simple. It's so simple. You know, the mind gets annoyed because it's so simple. It's like, come on, we need to do this and we need to do that and we need to, you know, it's actually so simple. And I guess that's one of the things. It's the simplicity of this communion with who you are and with your body. There's no advanced degrees that you need for it. Now with the 3-day body class, right, we do ask that people have done the bars and the foundation. And it's really just because in those classes, we get rid of a lot of the stuff that through the verbal processing and through the few body processes that are in those classes and the bars, we get rid of a lot of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and expectations and points of view that we have that don't allow us to access that, right? But it's not that you already are consciousness. That's what my friend RD says to people. You already are consciousness. So it's about accessing that. You heard of that thing that, you know, the universe put consciousness somewhere where you'd never look. In you.
Wow.
You travel all around the world. Hey there. Hey there. My buddies.
Ratan says, I too vote for the body class with Kass. After attending that program, my awareness has increased. My ability to know what's happening in my client's body has become super awesome. And Bente has a question. I had two body classes with Kass. You're amazing. Now I choose to try to create classes. What question can I ask or what can I be to be the invitation for a bigger number of participants?
Well, that's a great question, right? And because I was just talking about the body class is not just about the body, it's also about your life. So would you allow your body to be a contribution to being that invitation for people to show up, right? And it's really living these tools. Ina was talking about creating with me and some other collaborators that we work on our projects and classes together. And it's so funny how sometimes we are being the tools and using the tools in the classes, right? But we don't use them in other areas of our life, like creating the classes, right? So which tools can you use to be that energetic invitation, right? Gary and Dane have been talking about the bioenergetic nurturing and feeding, right? Bio just being everything that's alive, right? Bioenergetic, right? Tapping into the energy of everything that is alive. And that would probably just be about everything you see, even if it looks like a dead piece of wood. There are molecules and cells in there that you can tap into. So when you're talking about creating classes, what if it weren't about the number of people that's a sort of being invested in the outcome? What if it were about unbridled, meaning not held back, right? Unbridled expansion of that energy that you are, okay? That energy of your heartbeat, that energy of your being, right? What if it were about allowing that to seep out, you know? And what point of view do you have about you that you don't want other people to know? Like, what is that you think that is not really an invitation about you? So when I'm inviting people, I've got to say the right words. I've got to look the right way. I've got to put on the right posture, right? And that's cool because you're aware of what other people's judgments are, right? But what if the greatest invitation ever, ever, were you simply, deliciously being you? And especially those points of view you have about things that aren't really an invitation. What if that were the greatest invitation? You know, there's a difference between bleeding on people, like telling everyone your problems, and being being vulnerable, being with no barriers up, being not behind a mask, right? You're so real, you're so accessible. Remember this lovely gal in Mumbai said to me, "Oh, I expected when you came like this to be this Kass, and I'm talking up to her, but you're right here at eye level. You're right here. So are you willing to be right here with people? Right here. Can you see beyond the shine of the glasses? Right here. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that." Because that is something that connects us all. That's somewhere we're all connected. Beyond the veil. Yeah, there. Yeah, like that. That's it.
Right.
So way too simple, right? Yeah.
Way too simple.
Way
Wow,
too simple.
yeah, that just shifted like the whole energy. Wow. What else is possible with that? Huh. Uh, so if I can see clearly, Surbhi Chawla would like to know, she says, "Hi Kass, can you talk about teammates? How can we work with them for creating more?"
Are you talking about the ones in bodies or the ones out of bodies? It doesn't really matter. Being in the question and asking continually, what will create more? What will this create? What will create more? But the word, I guess, teammates in access has to do with the entities often. So I'm not sure what she's talking about.
Surbhi, are you
And you know, just on that, while she responds to that, I love this term dazzle, right? Which in English is about sort of a herd of zebras, and how different ones step up to take the lead, depending on when they're on top of their game. Another one falls in the back and sort of supports, right? And this is just another example of how we use words, right? Because they're the word of the day, they're the latest, they're the greatest, but it's not actually what we're being. And that, for me, I recognized. I said, okay, it's, you know, KT, you know, Art of Being Kass team. let's call it Art of Being Kass Dazzle, the KT Dazzle, right? And I recognized that I wasn't actually being that. I wasn't being part of a dazzle, right? I was still being the team. In a team, the difference being that there's a leader, right? So, so truly, are you willing to work with what you're calling your team? And it's not about the words. I love when people say that. I know you're not supposed to say this in Access. Access includes everything and excludes nothing. It's not that you're not supposed to say something. It's like, what is it? What is that vibration? The vibrations of the words that you're using. What is that vibration that you're creating in your reality? Is it a team where there's a leader? Or is it a dazzle where there is a confluence of energies that come together to create different things? You know, Gary says, don't co-create with anyone. Because when you co-create, if someone that you're co-creating with is having a slow day or not contributing or pulling their energy back, then you sort of have to adjust yourself and you pull back also, or you have to force forward, right? What if it is creating together as the dazzle does, and it moves forward in any case, and whoever is willing to take the lead, and that may be more than one at a time, takes the lead and keeps moving forward. Did she respond? Is that helpful?
Yeah, I just wanted to like add to that too. Like thank you for that as well. Like while creating with you as well, it's like you're always constantly aware of what's going on, and it's this willingness to really be able to create beyond that, rather than like letting anything stop you, which is so awesome, because so many times you kind of get into the whole thing of, you know, or someone is responding in a certain way and you have to be in anything in relation to that. Whereas it's more about everyone having their own strengths and moving forward and creating. And it's so easy to do that with you. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Gary and Dane just did this call about, you know, evil, you know, that there's a lot of energies. Sometimes there's energies that are stopping something. And this is about using the tools, asking, being willing to see that. When is it that something's not moving forward? Is there something you can do? What is this, right? The questions, the simple ones. And what is this? Is this something sticking this? Is there something holding this back? Is this moving forward? Is there something I can do? What do I do with it? Can I change it? How can I change it? And sometimes it's no, you can't change it. Okay, but we're still moving forward. And having it in our awareness, right, that there's a glitch there. And when there's a forward movement, and this is so applicable also to your body, right? When there is a forward movement, instead of getting stuck in the problem, right? The problem sometimes dissolves itself, you know? There's, I was chatting with Gary once, and he was, you know, this rocket ship of moving forward. And sometimes, you know, people want you to slow down and clean off some of the debris that has been created from the past trips on the rocket ship. But you know the thing about a rocket ship, the speed at which it moves, if you keep moving forward, that debris is going to fall off. It doesn't stick around for forward movement. So where is it that we're stopping to clean off the debris and forgetting about the forward movement? Choosing again, redirect. You can't redirect your trajectory, the direction you're going in, if you haven't started off. I was talking about that in my class. I used to, when I travel, I used to spend so much time in the hotel in the morning planning out my trip, right? The day, what I would be doing that day, right? I was going to go here for breakfast, and then I'd go here, and I'd walk here, and I'd walk here. By the time I started, I'd have to recalculate, right? Because already the morning breakfast time was over. The mid-morning was over. It was already lunchtime. So where are we standing still, calculating, planning a future that actually doesn't happen because we aren't choosing and we're not moving forward? Yes, everything that is, everywhere we're standing, cleaning off the debris, calculating it, getting it perfect before we start and just create. And would you be willing to make a mistake? Everything that is, can we destroy it and create it all?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, short, boys, and beyonds. Oops! What if oops were part of your vocabulary? Where are we? Are we on the yes? Are we on the no? Or are we on the oops?
I do a lot of oops.
Oops!
The oops queen. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, Surbhi is talking about entities in everything in her life. For example, her desk, chair, her laptop. This is a question in regards to team.
Yeah. So is that helpful? So truth, is it different? Truth, is it different? How you're creating with entities in bodies and entities out of bodies and teammates, and and everywhere we are allowing any entity in or out of body to dictate what's possible for us and how we move forward. And we destroy and create all that.
Yes.
Yeah, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, short, boys, and beyonds, right? Your teammates might be having a bad hair day. Would you be willing to not allow that, right, to mess up your do? Everything that is. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, short, boys, and beyonds. Yeah.
Nagarpula would like to know, what can I be to create a better, more intimate, more true dialogue with my body? Can I have more awareness on that? And you have beautiful, beautiful eyes, lady.
Begin, right? A lot of times we're doing stuff. Begin very quietly, at least once a day. And if you can, a couple of times a day. Just sitting and saying, hello, body. And waiting until you get a response, right? Like in the body classes, there's different ways that you connect with your partner's body. And whatever way you have that works for you, that's great. But I always suggest just maybe putting your hand on the partner's body and calling up their name. So my partner's body, and being aware of when that shift in energy comes, that subtle shift in energy when you've actually connected, right? So that's what I'm suggesting in response to your question. Be aware of that subtle shift when you sit for one moment, 10 seconds, quietly. And let's do that now, together, right? You can even put your hand on your arm or something like that, and just say, hello, body. Hello, body. Hey. And that shift may appear in your breathing. That often, when there's a shift in energy, that shift may appear in your heartbeat. You're all of a sudden aware of your heartbeat, or all of a sudden aware of your toes, or all of a sudden yawning, right? But begin to recognize when you're connected to you and when you're not, and be honest with it. It's not something you can hurry, and it's because it's beyond time, right? Time is about this reality. Connecting with you and your body, or connecting you and your body, is beyond time, right? So it could take an instant, right? But there is a subtle shift. And what we do with all of these, what I do with all of the classes is invite you to recognize when that is occurring. So that when it is not in place, you're like, hold it. And you might have to go into the bathroom if you're in a room full of people, or if you're in a moment. Take a moment for you. Is this making sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, and it's funny to ask if it makes sense, because it's beyond sense, right? It's actually that sixth sense, isn't it?
Great.
And just to say something about expectations, I'm sure we had a completely different expectation about what we're going to be talking about. We had it planned, we had it, you know what I mean? And what shows up is in the moment. And that's the thing about planning, right? I used to plan my access intros, right? When I started doing intros about 12 years ago. I've been a certified facilitator about 12 years. And I used to plan the intros, 1 hour intro, 5 days of planning, and all these notes and all this, what I would do and what, and if they said this, I would say this, and then I would do this, and then this and this. And if this came up, and I would do this way and this way and this way. And they were the worst. I mean, for me, they were the worst, right? Because the people were not included, right? So when we're talking about this dialogue and this connection with your body, right? Don't calculate it, figure it out from here, right? Because this is only a very small portion of you, right? 10% maximum if you're like Einstein, right? Include your body in that. Include the people. Bente was asking about more people in the classes. Include the people in and out of your awareness, right? That are looking for that vibration, that unique vibration that you are, that don't even know it. And please include you in that unique vibration of who you are. So get in touch with that. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. Yeah. Thank you, Daz. We've got lots of sorry, lots of people saying thank you for the change that they're experiencing, and things are makes a lot of sense, and the bodies are loving it. So yeah, thanks for that. Ina, any questions on your side still?
I was just gonna ask, while we were talking about expectations, if you could talk a bit about what is it to not expect change, and what expecting change or expecting something to change also creates, or just having what is that like? What does that create?
Well, you know what, expectations usually narrow our focus, right? Our focus down. So anything that shows up that is what we were not expecting, do we appreciate that as a shift? Sometimes we're waiting for these huge firecrackers to go off, right? We're waiting for a bing, bang, boom. When it shows up, it's going to be like, you know, the 4th of July, Independence Day. It's going to be, and I'm going to know, right? And if you're waiting for that, you miss so many things along the way. You know, like yesterday, my expectation was to go to Jerusalem, right? There are so many things to see on the way from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, right? That I wasn't able to see because I had 1 hour, and that was my expectation. So what if you can set a target, right? I would like change. And however that shows up along the way, be willing to deviate your course. You know, shoot for the stars. If you hit the moon, oh well. Yeah.
Yeah. So
did I answer the question?
Yes. Beautiful.
Okay, good.
Eva would like to, hope I'm pronouncing Eva and Sasha, your name correctly. What about?
Hi, Eva and Sasha. I see them.
Hi, I see them too. So what about when sickness shows up in our bodies? Is that where we aren't willing to receive an awareness from the body? And what can one do to relieve that or receive it?
Yeah, okay. So it's interesting. It may be not willing to receive the body, but usually before a sickness shows up, a sickness, what we're calling sickness or pain, right? Or disease even, is like maximum volume, right? So one of the things I promised to my body years ago, right, is that I'm willing to hear the whispers. No need to scream. I'm willing to hear the whispers way before it gets to the screaming, screeching volume, right? So when perhaps you'd like to make that agreement with your body. Show me what the whispers look like so that I can listen to them and we don't have to have a screaming match. Yeah,
Wow.
that's, yeah. And that, don't use that in your relationships, please.
I was just
You know, we so pretend that things are not up. You know, we had something up with our, you know, and one morning and with the team from Israel, and I was like, we're using these tools. We're facilitators. We're using these tools to say, you know, notice what's going on in your life. What is this? What is this? Is the question we learn in the foundation, right? So pretending that there's not something up, is that honoring you? Is that honoring the future possibility, right? So we sometimes want to speed by something, right? Not that you have to stop and say, oh my goodness, I've got a twitch in my nose. I wonder what that means. Does it mean I'm getting a cold? Is it that? Say, wow, there's a twitch in my nose. Just acknowledging something sometimes is enough, right? Have you ever walked into a room and that nobody turned around and even noticed you, right? Even though something's going on. And then you walk into a room and everyone, even though something's going on, smiles, winks, or says, or waves or something. And you're like, okay, I'm good. That's cool. They noticed me. Yeah. Would you be willing to do that with your body? Just notice it. Notice what's going on. Hey, buddy, it's like you got something going on with these legs. I do need to get to this appointment. So, you know, what can I be or do for you that would give more ease so that I can also get to this appointment? And the body might be like, okay, just thanks for noticing me. Thanks so much. You know, just that. Would you be willing to notice your body not only when it's sick, not only when it's in pain, right? And not only when it's screaming. Gary says in the body manual, pain is always an awareness that we're unwilling to have. And I suggest asking, you know, when you have something that you're calling pain or sickness, so what's right about this I'm not getting? What are you trying to communicate to me that I'm just not getting at the moment, right? Yeah.
We could talk a bit about, yeah.
We could talk about everything a whole lot. Yeah, please, I mean, I know that Jacqueline and Percy want to talk about what we will be doing down under. We've got some, if you can't come down under to join us, we've got some online classes as well coming up online from Oz. Karen Jones will be joining me on my Down Under tour. We've got some online classes in New Zealand, also in a body class. So we can continue playing a lot. And as you do notice, I talk a lot. Oops, sorry.
Flawless communication, Kass.
You know, I got this, Gary used to say, one line of conversation, right? Verbal communication, and 10 lines of energetic communication, right? So I get that. Cool.
Who else write the book 7 Steps to Flawless Communication?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So there are lots of questions coming in, but take it away, you guys. What's happening down under?
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was quite a interesting question coming up earlier on, which I think we must make our last question. And for me, it just feels interesting. So there is Bento who says, can I ask, I have thoughts or a need to move to another place. Is this my body who wants something else, or do I just do this to confuse me? I think that's an interesting question, and I think the answer might be a contribution to all of us, or some of us that's on this call currently.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the way you recognize the difference between a thought and an awareness is that an awareness brings up more questions. Brings up is, we say it's lighter, right? But a lot of people are like, what's that light thing? I don't get that, right? Awareness is immediate, simultaneous, instantaneous, right? We use that light and heavy as sort of to kickstart our awareness. If we're not, especially when it's something like moving, we're not really willing, you know, it's really, you know, seems so significant that we're like, okay, I've got to figure this out, right? So it's getting in touch, and this is also step 2 in the 7 steps, is listening to your body, allowing your body to give you the awareness when something is the right choice for you in that moment. And a lot of times it may pass, but if you're willing to acknowledge it, and compliments to you for willing to acknowledge this is what's up for me, if you're willing to acknowledge it, then you have more agility, more ability to move and ask more questions. So you can use, so truth, would moving to another location create more for you? Right? Now, we probably, you know, all have an awareness of yes or no on that, but it doesn't matter what our awareness is. It matters what your awareness is. And the first thing that came up to me to ask is that you that wants to move? Or are you tapping into someone else who is desiring to move? Right? And from choice comes awareness. We've heard that, right, in Access before. Well, if you haven't, from choice comes awareness, right? So just choosing something will give you the awareness. Now, what does that look like in terms of moving? Allow yourself to sit there for a moment and say, okay, yes, I'm moving, and I'm moving to this other place. And allow yourself to get the energy of what that feels like, the choice. You've chosen and you're moving. What does that feel like? What is that? What are the sensations in your body? Is it an expansion for you? Is it bring lightness? Does it bring joy? Before you go into thinking, well, if I move, then what am I going to do with my cat? And then I have to pack up all this stuff, and then my lease is still available. You know, not with all those thoughts. I've got to get out of my lease, and then it's going to cost me, and then where am I going to go? And then, you know, what am I going to do when I go there? That's all the thoughts. But just choosing it, right? Allow yourself to choose it. Okay, I'm moving. I'm going to be moving. And just see how that resonates in your body. It's a little bit like the question, so if I move, what will my life be like in 5 years? Right? What will my business be like in 4 years? What will my relationships be like in 5 years? What will the planet be like in 50 years? Right? And it's energetic. So that's one of the reasons, quote unquote, that I'm always looking to get people to tap into the energy, right? Because we work with energy. So the more you have a familiarity, in Italian you say una dimestichezza, with energy, right? Domesticized, you know what I mean? Have it in your home with you, in your life with you. The more these questions give you awareness, because you ask them and you immediately get a response, an energetic response. Uh-oh, they're taking notes. Uh-oh. There's something really interesting on the paper there in front of you. What is that? Yeah.
Wow.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very awesome. I'm just amazed of how awesome this call is, or the Zoom. I mean, what it means for me and what I've learned just in this past 54 minutes. How awesome.
But who's counting, right? 54 minutes and 30 seconds, but who's counting?
And I'm actually sitting here and I'm just thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to spend 3 awesome days with this person.
Yeah.
And I think here down under, we're very excited in having you here and, you know, experiencing Kass down under, rocking our bodies. I'm going to get my dancing shoes so long.
Stilettos.
Oh, we could dance with no shoes too.
Where is the class happening? Where is the 3 days?
The 3-day body class will be down in Noosa, Sunshine Coast, Australia. And it's from the 18th until the 20th of September. We're very excited, and we want to be an invitation for whoever can come and join us and want to create different things in their lives to just come and have fun with us.
Yeah.
You're all invited to Down Under.
Yeah.
We'll be doing the 7 steps to flawless communication with sex and relationship the evening of the 18th, right?
That's great.
Evening in Australia is usually morning in the rest of the world, or afternoon. And that'll be available online. And then on the 19th, Karen Jones is going to be doing Access Your Sound. She's an amazing international jazz singer, my first facilitator in Access. First bars like 14 years ago. And so she'll be working with sound. You don't have to be a singer to enjoy that. She talked about that with Gary and how to do that. So that'll be fun. And so please, tune into that. You can find information on accessconsciousness.com or cassthomas.com or on the Facebook page. And we'll be doing some classes in New Zealand that'll also be available online. With Karen, with me, Tales from the Golden Planet, and cocktails and song or something like that. So keep join in. We'd really appreciate your energetic contribution to that, because I've never facilitated anything in New Zealand or Australia before, and it's interesting. People, hopefully, this call's given people a little bit of a taste of what that might be like for you. So if you enjoy the energy of it, what else is possible?
Amazing. Yeah.
Yes. And Tales of the Golden Planet is something that I just wanted to add a bit to it. It's just this it's a one-day class. It's also the intro, and both of them are going to be live streamed. But like the ones that I've attended, in just like that much of span, like whatever is your life and whatever energy that you're being, suddenly like all these totally different spaces, different energies and different possibilities become available, and you can sense like how everyone's world has expanded. So like personally, that's my invitation. If it's a class that's calling out for you, do hop on. It will be live and we will share all the details with you guys. And how do they get the details? The ones that on Art of Being Kass on Facebook, and I'm going to quickly share the link. Everything is there. I should have thought of it before, sorry. Or if you just Google Art of Being Kass, Facebook. No, wait, I got it.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Anybody, so thank you guys so much for this, asking to do this. And yeah, we might do another one.
Yeah.
Who knows? Creating, let's see what that comes up with, because there's so much to share, and I'm really grateful that people are receiving it, because we can get that in the energy of the Zoom. So
Wonderful.
No, thank you guys, and thank you for everybody joining us. I think this was a great contribution, and I love the energy of the call and everybody participating and asking questions. I hope all your questions has been answered. And if there's anything we can assist with in getting you or helping you to come down under and have fun with us, just let us know.
Yeah, find us online.
Yeah, I love all the beautiful faces.
I hear there's a pool at the venue, private pool.
Don't talk about the pool and champagne and stuff like that.
Yeah, no.
Top secret.
We're not having fun.
We're not allowed to have fun.
I think Sharon.
Sorry.
Sharon has.
Look. Yes, it is. Thank you. I just wanted to pipe on and also invite everybody down to New Zealand to come and join us for Kass's tour. We're really excited. Moana's on the call too. She's one of the hosts, and we've got Michelle Edhouse. So yeah, come on down. We've got a pool outside our venue. It's the ocean. And yeah, no champagne, no fun. So come play. Really excited. Thanks.
Okay, cool.
Thank
All right.
you.
See you soon. Mwah. Ciao.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Chat soon. Bye.
Ciao.